Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Miraculous Ladybug, New Powerpuff Girls, Star Wars, The Force of Evil, and RWBY. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing Chapter 6 of Volume 4 of RWBY, Tipping Point, the kind of mid-season finale of Volume 4.
Nice title.
Yeah, Tipping Point, I guess. Yeah, so we cover RWBY every week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, or your other favorite podcatcher. Check out our other RWBY podcasts on overlyanimated.com. Look for our RWBY-specific iTunes feed. Subscribe to us there. If you're listening, subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll be back after this December break to discuss the rest of RWBY Volume 4. But for now, let's get into Tipping Point, spoilers for this episode and all of RWBY. Delaney, reactions to Tipping Point.
It was, it tried really hard to be exciting, but I don't think it succeeded.
Ooh,
I really liked the Weiss part, that was really interesting. The Ren stuff was weird, and I don't think landed very well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what's his face showed up. That's the crazy dude. I still can't.
Tyrion, and it's
Tyrion.
with an A instead of an O.
Yes. Okay, yeah, Tyrion. That was that fight wasn't really exciting. I don't know. I'm still confused about why he's a faunus. Like, what? Okay.
He's a scorpion faunus. That's pretty cool.
I mean, it is really cool, but it was also I
don't know why that's shocking that he specifically was a faunus, but he's a cool design at least.
Yeah, no, he's a really neat design. Of the scorpion thing was that's granted, it took me a minute to realize that's what was going on, because I was like, what? But I don't know, it just meh. The Y stuff was interesting, and even parts of the Y stuff was kind of okay, what are we doing? So it was fine.
Yeah, very, very slow first half of the season, kind of capped by this very kind of underwhelming it's not really the mid-season finale. They don't intentionally make it that, so we shouldn't talk about it like that, but yeah. So I think that parts of this episode are pretty good. So overall, my big conclusion after seeing it twice is that this is a very technically well-made episode, and I'm very impressed with the strides that Rooster Teeth Animation has taken. I think that this fight scene with Tyrion at the end is pretty impressive, and that's the standout to me. I don't know if it's I wasn't invested in it or anything because I don't really care what's happening with Tyrion or anything like that. I don't think they've handled that super well. But, I think that you could argue this is technically one of their best fight scenes since Volume 2 ended. That's something they've been struggling with for a while. And I think that, just from the sound to the, animations improved a lot. I think that the fight scene is what you want to hang your hat on if you're, hoping that the direction of the show is improving, because I think this is one of the better ones we've seen. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I didn't think it was that great, but I think in comparison to the rest of the season,
you have to remember some of the ones we've had.
Yeah, but I have to remember the rest of the season was kind of mess. So yeah, I mean, I think it was just kind of a lot of back and forth. It was just really repetitive. Obviously, it's a feat of animation, and it looks really cool, but it's just very repetitive.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm kind of trying to focus on, is how it's done technically and stuff.
Technically, I mean, I do think just animation wise, the scene with Weiss is gorgeous. Weiss singing is a beautiful, probably one of the most beautiful scenes in the whole series. That was wonderfully done. I would agree this episode's very technically well done. I mean, the painting, everything looked really great. There just wasn't a lot of interesting things going on.
Yeah.
I do think the fight, definitely for this season's really good, and probably since Volume 2 it was a really good fight scene.
Yeah. I think that if we're going to talk, I mean, I've purposely avoided talking the narrative. This episode's in 3 parts. The first part I think is pretty bad. And I think the Weiss and the Tyrion stuff are fine. I'm not super enthused by any of them, but I think that they were fine, I guess. But yeah, you're right. The Weiss scene, at first I was really, kind of hated that scene just because I was focusing on the narrative and stuff like that, and it's not great. But on rewatch, that scene's super well done. Everything from the singing to the party scene and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with
Well, it's like they're not shadows. Like they're really like, oh look, we can like animate people in the background now.
Yeah,
like,
so it's like this episode again showcased their side characters looking really good, and a lot of the rich people in the Weiss scene looked good. But also just there's this one part where Weiss is after fake Neptune leaves. And we like, from that moment until Weiss explodes, she's like staring at that, and there's background, and they do some really interesting things with like the sound fading and like her focusing in on the background characters talking. I'm kind of like a sound guy, so I was like pretty super impressed with the mixing in that part of the episode. But just, I don't know, just big shout outs to the Rooster Teeth Animation for, the technical performance on this episode, because I really think that it elevated kind of a, nothing narrative episode, to be honest, to somewhat interesting.
We just take for granted sometimes. It's like, we watch things like Steven Universe, and we watch very large syndicated animated shows, and it's hard to remember sometimes like those things, like they just have that because like they have like this large crew and like all this stuff, and it's it's hard to remember like that Rooster Teeth doesn't have this. And
not only are they executing on like somewhat of a similar level to a bigger like actual animation department, but also they also like I was actively impressed by that scene. Like even if that was on a Steven Universe episode, like I'd have been impressed by that. So that was in terms of the narrative, I think I do think it's fine here. Like I think the writing is fine in this episode. Certainly the Ren stuff.
It's just boring. There's just nothing going on. Like it's not bad, like it's not actively bad like we've had in this show where it's like, oh my god.
That would be my point. I think it's improved actually.
The fact that this is their kind of their resting state, like there's been some episodes where the resting state in the episode is awful, like the writing's bad, but this is like it's boring, but it's not terrible. Like that's an improvement, like vast improvement.
I agree with that. I think the Ren stuff's the only stuff that's a miscalculation. Even that's not badly written. It's just like they're just falling back into their vague bad mythology expansions. But yeah, we'll talk about this. So let's focus in on the details of the episode, and then at the end we'll take a overview of the first half of the season and get into more of the stuff. So let's start at the end because we're already talking about the fight scene, and then we'll move backwards. So yeah, Tyrion, a scorpion faunus, we say is pretty cool, I guess, with the tail at the end. So what did you make of Tyrion in this fight scene? Kind of the typical like unhinged, this character archetype is supposed to be.
Yeah, he's not really doing anything like different. He's very it's like when you play like Arkham Asylum and you're fighting like the Joker or something.
Yeah, he's just like a joke. He's just a Joker knockoff.
He's just a Joker, and it's just like whatever. And it's like he's not awful. I think the Scorpion thing adds a lot to his. I think it adds a bit to the Faunus like narrative a little bit. Like we haven't really seen like Faunus use their like I don't think we've really seen something like this, where it's like the Faunus's mark or whatever being used in this kind of way. And you can maybe begin to understand, like, maybe, this is probably another reason why the Faunus and everyone else don't really get along, and stuff like this. I don't know. He's just so uninteresting.
I think that he came across in terms of his fighting ability. I got the sense how powerful he was.
No, he's definitely like super. Like, he's an assassin.
I guess, right? Like, we don't really know.
Got the hint that's kind of what he is, but who knows? It's definitely like, and it's very clear that he's toying with them. So like, I think they executed that really well. He's just playing with them, and like, if he wanted to kill them, he could. And granted, there was that one part where like he was literally going to straight up kill Jean, and then like Jean barely survived like by like half a second, which I think was probably the most. That was the largest indicator that he could really like just mess them all up.
Yeah, I guess he couldn't because this episode actually like the fight scene focuses on auras a little bit. And like he breaks Ruby's aura, I guess, at that one point when he kicks her in the midsection, which I didn't need to see that scene, by the way. I don't like Ruby being hurt, but, I think that, I guess the auras would have protected them. Like, he can't just kill them right away, but,
I guess not. I don't know. Well, my thing is, like, I figure there's probably some sort of, like, super move you can do that, like, breaks someone's aura.
Yeah, people have been saying his semblance is maybe aura breaking or something like that. We don't need to get
that sounds.
I think other people have had aura breaking semblances.
That's a little too assassiny. Like,
yeah, that's a little.
Oh yeah, your ability is to break people's auras. What career should we give you? Like,
yeah, that's true.
that's dumb.
What do you think of Crow showing up at the end?
Oh well, thank God, because I was like RWBY. Because I was like,
about time, Crow. Like he's supposed to be following them closely.
Like, Crow, what the heck? Like you were like forever away, bro. Like you should have shown up like 5 minutes earlier. But whatever. I'm glad he showed up, and like he wasn't that like that was actually kind of a good scene. Like he wasn't like annoying. It was like, hey, like you shut up, Crow. Like, yeah. It wasn't that bad though. Like he didn't say something stupid.
Yeah, I don't know why we needed to pause.
It like, hit him, but it hit the sword. So I was
it hit his sword. Like, what's the okay? I don't know why I needed to pause once the.
I don't know why it had to be so dramatic.
It was very dramatic. Are you looking forward to the Tyrion Crow face-off potentially in episode 7?
Like on one hand, yes, because I want Crow to like ruin his life, and then on the other side, I'm also like, what kind of stupid stuff is Crow gonna say that's gonna make me irritated? So, yeah. Like, I'm not looking forward to their dialogue. If they can just fight and not talk, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
But no, they're both gonna talk, and I'm like, can you shut up?
Yeah. What do you think of Yeah, I think it was fine. Crow coming in at the end. He was like expected.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was like, it's so obvious that Crow was going to show up, and like, I think it's fine. Like, they didn't have that Crow at least, so like, that was good.
Tyrion's kind of like hand circle weapons. Those probably have a name, but I don't know.
Yeah,
them.
I can't. Are they? They're not commas, are they?
Are those like did he still use those even when he went into Faunus mode? I think probably, so, but maybe? I guess they're kind of cool. Hand-to-hand combat. We've seen a lot of long-range stuff on the show, so
yes.
That's kind of
it's a comma. I might be wrong.
No,
it is not a comma. Okay, darn it.
You don't need to know this.
I know what it is. I just can't remember
the name. Him being interested in Jon. This could go. You remember?
What? Like what?
So this could go into really bad territory if this is like, what is he like? Like Jon? Like. Is like, you know,
I'm concerned.
So there's two possibilities. One, this is like them making Tyrion the gay character, and we're gonna be enraged, right? Like, we're gonna be so bad.
I'll flip my computer out the window.
It's like, the effeminate, like crazy villain is the big character, right? Wow.
Like, I might get so mad that I like tweeted them. Like,
yeah, people. Don't worry, Tumblr would already be mad enough. But yes. 2, Jon could have some sort of special meaning to the larger plot, or like a special power.
I mean, I feel like it might be related to like Pyrrha.
Okay. Did Pyrrha's awesomeness somehow transfer to Jon?
I don't know. Like, I don't like I mean, there's still like the armor thing. I don't know. Like, it better not be the first option. Like, it just better not be.
Yeah, actually, I don't want it to be the second option either, because then that's making Jon into like more of the main character.
As soon as he said that, I was like, oh my god. I mean, this is awful. But like when like he almost like stabs Jon, I was like oh no, and the other part was like, darn it. Like,
rude.
I want him to go away.
Yeah. What do you think of the RWBY like shooting Nora with the electric thing and then supercharged Nora?
That was great.
And then there's one part when like Nora like steps in front of RWBY to protect her.
I'm just glad they didn't do anything like, oh, you missed. I didn't. Like, thank God. Like,
well, they didn't put that in dialogue. That would have been worse. But they spend too long with the like.
Oh no, they spend like way too long. Yeah. But like, I'm really glad they didn't like say it, because that would have made it like a 500 times worse.
Yeah. For all the like stuff I've not been liking about Team Ranger, they've at least given Nora and RWBY a few moments, like them as a fighting team, and also just like talking, and like that's been my favorite two character relationship that hadn't been previously established on the show.
Yeah, it's like they're talking, it's cool.
Yeah,
like I'm happy.
They're friends.
Less boys, please.
Yeah, I don't know what their ship name is, but we could look into that. Definitely exists. Everyone has a ship name on the show.
Of course.
Yeah. And then Tyrion saying, "My heart and body belong only to our goddess," and then RWBY's like, "Cinder," and he's like, "No."
It's like LOL, JK.
Yeah. So what do you think of that? Tyrion being super devoted to Salem.
I mean, that makes sense because he's crazy.
So he also calls her a goddess. So you think that's just him being like unhinged, or do you think that's a sign that Salem is like super weird, special type thing.
Well, I think that makes sense. I mean, we've been trying to figure this out. We're like, what is Salem? Like, what is she?
I'm pretty solid on the fact that she's like a grim goddess at this point.
Right, yeah, like it makes sense. And if we're gonna have this stupid maiden stuff, like, there's probably gods and goddesses, so like that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a literal goddess or whatever, but some sort of grim master that's kind of been alive for a long time,
some sort, like, she's just not human. Like, she's not.
Yeah, I think she probably was human or something, but then she like got infected with Grimm or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. Like what the Grimm can do to you.
There's some really, because her being Grimm human. There's this really interesting edit that I've seen a bunch of times of like reanimated Pyrrha, but like as a Grimm, like Salem is. Which would be awesome, but
I would also cry. Like,
that'd be really cool. I mean, on one hand, I don't know, but that's type of interesting thing, like grim human zombie thing, something like that. It's some interesting ways to take that.
It's definitely a way to make the Grimm more terrifying.
Yeah, if there's some, what type of mark does we'll talk a little, and there's another discussion to have with Grimm, so let's say that. So let's talk the Weiss stuff. So Weiss singing, we finally have we have the charity concert.
I feel a little cheated because she didn't sing as long. Feel a little cheated.
We didn't see the whole song or whatever.
Yeah, I'm a little
Weiss singing with, the vocals of Casey Williams, the vocalist on the show. This isn't a big deal, but it's like a big discussion point has been like, is this good that this is not Weiss's voice actor singing? Like, I think it's noticeable.
Oh, it's definitely noticeable. Like, it's like, okay. Which, like, I think in another show it would have been okay. The problem is, like, she sings everything.
Yeah, we hear her voice every episode, so that's
like she sings the theme and like basically any song that has any sort of lyrics.
No, she's the only vocalist on the show. Yep. So
which like I understand like logistically, but then it's also like y'all could have like done something.
I don't think it's a huge deal, but she also sang as Weiss in the White trailer.
It's just very noticeable.
It's just noticeable.
Which, granted, if no one else sings, that's fine. But
you don't want Blake to sing and then it's also her.
Right, okay.
So what do you think of seeing Weiss singing again? Because this wasn't really part of her character in the show ever.
Right, just in the White trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I liked it. I think it's neat. And they definitely, she kind of sings this really sad song. And then she's, looking at her dad and her brother's doing this really annoying, golf clap. I think, there was a lot going into it. I think it's fine. I don't think there's a problem with it. And then a lot of it, they kind of, in volume 2 and 3, Weiss had, the most development as a character, but then we kind of, stop doing things with her. I don't know. It's nice to have these little things.
Yeah.
And we have to do something with her. She's in the middle of a rich city. We have to have some sort of conflict. So.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, I think her singing was fine. I think that's an okay thing to introduce. Overall, I don't know why I need to see Weiss go through crap like this.
I also I don't understand. This is kind of what Yang is going through, but but it's the rich, no consequences kind of way. It's really weird. It's literally what Yang's going through because Weiss is clearly she's struggling with PTSD and she's having outbursts at people around her. Also, her dad is the worst.
Yeah.
And
I already understood that Weiss's dad was the worst. I understood that the family is bad.
Right.
I think that these are parts of that we've been shown of Weiss's character already, and we're making them more explicit here. And I think it is adding something. But also, it's not enjoyable for me to watch these scenes.
The thing is, just honestly in general, all of our characters, there is nothing interesting going on except Tyrion attacked finally, but and Blake is oh, there's some White Fang nonsense going on, but that's always going on. So we haven't really done anything neat or new with our characters. Our characters are all in these places, and we're okay, this is exactly where we thought they were. Okay, maybe not exactly where Weiss is, but when, I feel we haven't learned anything or done anything different from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, at the end of Volume 3, we see her on the plane with her dad. So, she's going to the
6
same
episodes
mansion,
in,
and she's still there, yeah.
6 episodes in, and I'm I could have not watched these 6 episodes, and it'd be no difference. No change. Yeah,
really the only thing you'd be missing if you started in episode 7, I think, would be the Salem stuff and maybe the the Raven stuff, and I think that's kind of it. Yeah, to be honest,
and it's like that's kind of awful.
We'll talk about that in the we'll stick to specifics and then we'll get into the overall season. But that's the type of thing where I mean that's what you want to talk about, right? Because that's like I feel, yeah. But I mean, in terms of the specific scene, I think it's like done fine.
Well, I mean, the episode's fine. There's just nothing. There's like there's no good. Like it's not great. It's not awful. It's just okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I was impressed by the way they execute the Weiss stuff, but I also like, and I guess, I don't know, her outburst, and that's nice that it's like clearly she's rebelling against this type of thing. Weiss's dad, thoughts on him in this episode?
He's just the worst. And he's just that really like subtle awful that you're just like, I hate you.
Yeah, I guess I'm impressed that they haven't gone the like, him like blatantly hitting her or anything. Right. He's just like grabbing her and like stay here, like and like undermining her and not letting her do anything. But but what do you think of Whitley? He doesn't really talk.
He's just there, and he's just.
I know you're Whitley's number one fan.
He's just the weirdest looking character. Like he's just awkward. Like his legs are too long. It's fine. Like
wow, rude.
He's just he has a really awkward character design, and that's fine if we're going like he's 15 and needs to grow into his legs. But like it's just really weird. Like his character design is just weird.
Now Delaney. I know you were impressed by your new favorite character, Henry Marigold.
Oh my god, okay, so for context, I hadn't seen it yet, and like I saw a screenshot on Tumblr, and I was like, oh my god, is that Neptune? Like, cause I like saw blue hair, got mad, messaged Dylan, and was like, I was like, darn it, I saw a screenshot, and then I was like, oh my god, it's Neptune, ew, like I'm mad. And then Dylan was like, LOL, it's not Neptune. I was like, that doesn't make it any better. Like, it's just great.
He looks very similar to Neptune.
He has blue hair. Like, and it's like, I noticed it's not like bright blue like Neptune's. It's like teal. But how many boys gotta have, like, this is so annoying. Like, blue hair, like, I saw him.
Like, despite Henry Marigold being the worst, like, at least this wasn't Neptune.
At least, oh my god, if it had been Neptune, I would have, like, been done. No, he just, like, and, like, they're trying to go this, like, oh, he's okay thing. And he's so weird. Granted, it's kind of a nice, it's a real demonstration of, like, how much Weiss has changed. Because from the Neptune nonsense and, like, the dance to this, where there's a boy talking to her and calling her pretty, and she's like, can you please go away?
Right. I think it's a purposeful character design, making him look like Neptune. This is a direct parallel to Blake, Weiss like fawning over Neptune at the beginning of season 2 or something, and now she's like done with him. And like I guess he's not supposed to be like a giant jerk, but at the same time the point of his character is like Weiss rejecting him. So it's not like
she's rejecting her, like everything about her, like life before Beacon.
Right. And he's kind of representative of a lot of that. Yeah, like normally this might be the type of guy that she would be expected to date or something, like a high class guy. But so I mean, it's like this character sucks, but he's supposed to suck. Like that's the point of it.
Which they do. I mean, it's great. It was just I saw that screenshot and I was like, oh my god, but this is fine. It was good. I was like, shut him down.
Are we gonna ship Henry Marigold with? Why does he have a last name? Like
for real, like it's so weird. Like okay,
it's such a stupid name. Okay, it's probably someone's name on Rooster Teeth or something, and we're like insulting that person. But I thought it was really well done because you didn't know why she was getting mad at him, and then they pan to the shot, and it's like proceeds go to Vale.
Right.
So I thought that was I guess nice. And then she like shouts at everyone, and like I said, I thought technically like this whole thing is really good. And then she summons the snow boar Grim. Yeah,
that was really neat.
Yeah, I like that. We're advancing Weiss's summoning arc. Like they're doing stuff with Weiss's character. I don't know if it needs to be done here, but yeah, she summons something kind of accidentally. I think that's interesting. Do you like Weiss summoning?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been waiting for us to get there because like this is something we've been dealing with since like volume 1. Weiss, so this is nice to like me touching back up on it, see what's going to happen. And
yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've seen the first thing Weiss summoned was the thing from the White trailer,
the night.
Yeah, and then this was I saw is like apparently the first Grim she killed in when she got to Beacon, but I'm not sure if that's true.
Okay.
Or not.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and rewatch. I mean, that sounds okay. That sounds like we've seen that Grim before.
Yeah, so if that's true, that's pretty cool. That's kind of like going in order. Also, a potential White Rose if like RWBY was there I don't know if she's thinking of RWBY. I'm seeing the evidence that she's thinking of RWBY, but
That's fair.
And then Ironwood shoots it. And we get the best line that Miles has ever written. She's the only one making any sense around here. Thank you for that, Miles. Great line. What do you think of Iron? What do you think about shooting the boar and then?
It's just like okay. I mean, I wasn't shocked Ironwood was there. Like, they're like he's such a weird character. Like, okay.
People are shipping the Weiss and Ironwood. Are you shipping the Weiss?
No, oh my god, like no.
I do like the Ironwood is kind of like this real father figure for Weiss type thing, whereas her real father sucks. So I think that's nice.
Well, he's this grizzled like veteran character, and like they're doing interesting things with him. Like he's not like the typical like archetype of that character. So like he's okay. Like they're doing fine. They're doing okay things with him.
Yeah, I like him being nice to Weiss.
Like I feel like he's just gonna help like Weiss get out. Like he's gonna like smuggle Weiss
out
of Atlas.
So what needs to happen is Ironwood takes Weiss away, and then Ironwood shows Weiss Penny 2.0, and then Penny's back, and then Weiss and Penny go and meet RWBY, and then RWBY's like overwhelmed that her two girls are there, and like there you go. There's my fan fiction. And then they go
and get Blake, and then they get Yang, and it's fine.
Yeah, and I guess Blake and Yang can come too, but no, JK, but JK. But yeah, there's my fan fiction for the rest of the season. She's the only one making any sense around here.
God.
Okay. So this first scene.
It's a ploy for you to get more power.
Yeah, that was the show's version of the ploy.
God.
There's this first scene. And I thought those two scenes, the Weiss and then the Tyrion fight, I thought they're like fine. I thought they're good. But this first scene, I think, is okay. This first scene doesn't really work.
This first scene, like, it makes no sense. It's like vague exposition, clench his fist. What the heck? Like,
yeah. So first we start with RWBY talking about like, RWBY, how long did you think this journey would take? 2 weeks. Meanwhile, we the audience have no idea how long they've been gone, nor how long it actually would take to get there.
Like, we don't know. Like, jeez.
Why are you making a joke about this when we have no sense if RWBY's right or not? Like, that's the thing.
Is, like, it's obvious that she's wrong, but the thing is, like, we don't know how off she is. Like,
how long have they been walking? We don't know. We
don't know. And then, like, literally, like, the whole world of Remnant makes no sense. Like, they're not like they're always looking at like yes, and everyone's like Delaney never watches the World of Remnants. Correct.
No, they don't give you a sense of how long it would take.
Like we don't know how. Like we just was like, oh, there's all these kingdoms, and like there's people who don't live in the kingdoms. Like what? We don't know. Like they're just walking. This is just this epic journey. We don't know.
Yeah, no, this is a stupid joke. Like they've really struggled with what to have Team Ranger say in their downtime.
Yeah, it's like why have them? It's just.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll talk about how successful Team Ranger has been. Yeah, so that was whatever. And then they go abandoned. So this was just really off of their, like, the building slaps, and then John's like, let's search for survivors. Like, John, chill. You didn't see anyone dead. Like, why are you freaking out like that? Calm down, John.
He literally drops the map. It's like, this is like, okay, good. Go back now. Like, good job, bro.
You know how I was talking about how those second two scenes were, like, fine, good executed, like, the writing was fine. That was bad. That was bad writing.
Like, so dramatic.
Yeah, so this is the town of Onayuri, because RWBY wants to cash in on that Yuri popularness on Tumblr right now.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I have, like, whatever.
Yeah, and something about some vague backstory of some town wanting to make their own city, and then Ren's parents were part of that, and then the Grimm came.
Made no sense. Like, this vague
exposition. It didn't make any sense.
Like, why do we care? Like,
so first of all, I thought two things. One, this is like, it's stupid and I didn't care. Two, I thought that Ren's parents were connected to Nora's parents, and I also thought that Ren and Nora's parents were killed by these bandits that were led by Raven. So why are Ren's parents killed by Grimm now? And not just Grimm, it's one Grimm, some like one legendary, like large Grimm. Right. Like, what's going on with that?
Like, this is so stupid.
Aren't we contradicting Ren's backstory? Is like, or what's going on?
Well, I don't think we're contradicting. I mean, there's a chance that that what we thought was that bandit's mark is actually this giant Grimm.
I guess, yeah.
That's... Like, what? Like, who's gonna figure that out?
They're doing much more interesting things with the Raven killed their parents type thing rather than this giant.
Yes,
Grimm. This is worse. Yeah.
Who cares? Like,
what type of giant Grimm do you think this giant legendary Grimm is?
Probably a bird. It's always birds. I'm just so done. Like,
why is it always birds? Because like there's a dragon, and then like
it's so dumb.
and then
like,
the one from the forest was like a giant bird. Okay, I see.
Also, like, all of these, like, this is just getting really boring. Like, we encounter an abandoned place. Yeah. I didn't think this wasn't on the map. Like, shut up. Like, this is so boring. Yeah. And then, like, they always go places. They found one dead body. They found one dead body. And then, like, he wasn't even dead. He died. And then, like, this is so, like, they act like they're on this, like, they're gonna save people. Like, you haven't seen anyone. Like, y'all suck. Like, you haven't done anything. It's just, it's like reading that young adult novel, and like you're in the beginning, like you get the book, and you're like, this sounds really interesting. Then you get in the middle of it, and you're like, oh my god, like this is the same thing for like 5 chapters, and you just don't care anymore. Yeah, it's just over. It's like, just who cares?
Yeah, I guess I'm willing to overlook this scene because I think that the last few episodes have been not this bad, and
yes, I agree.
And the next 2 scenes also weren't that bad, so I'm just gonna say that it's just one bad thing. But yeah, the scene was not good.
Well, it just kind of encapsulates everything that is wrong with this particular story arc in this season.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay.
Hopefully we've moved on from this Team Ranger arc now.
Well, the thing is, like, we're clearly going to come back to this Rin nonsense. Like, we're going to see the giant bird or whatever it is, like the bear, whatever it is. Like,
yeah, I guess so. But if it's the Raven stuff, that's cool. So
that's
maybe
fine. I just don't understand. Maybe they control the Grimm. Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. Like, just whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So overall, though, I would say the highlight of it's worse than probably the previous 2 episodes. You'll take the Blake episode over this one, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Well, it's just like, even though that's not like a lot of exciting stuff, it's like at least it's something different.
Yeah, it was different, so that's fine. Here's our Nightblood 2013 character times for this episode. We had Weiss and RWBY at first, that as it should be, 1 and 2.
Finally,
as it should be.
And then episode 6,
and then Ren, and then John 4. Ren had more time than John because he had a monologue.
Well, that's better than John, but then it's also like, who cares about Ren?
Coming in at 7th, Henry Marigold.
God.
8th, Jack Schnee. 9th, Whitley. 10th, Crow. 11th, Ironwood. So
nice.
But okay, so. Transitioning into our larger discussion topic here, nightblood2013.tumblr.com. Nightblood is great and compiled the times from the first 6 episodes into one, and I have the list of the top 10 character screen times from Volume 4 for chapters 1 to 6. This was good work, and this will answer a lot of our questions now. Delaney, who do you think had the most screen time in these first 6 episodes?
Jean.
It is very close between 1 and 2. Jean is number 2.
Okay, so, number 1. Who is it?
Who do you think? It's not obvious, but
is it a boy?
What boy could it be other than John? No, it's Blake had her own episode. It is Blake who had the most screen time.
Thank God. Okay, you know what's irritating is that's my favorite character, and I didn't even notice that she's had the most screen time.
Yeah, she was only in 2 episodes, right? So
like, it's ridiculous. I mean, like, that's great that like she's had that like more time, but it's been in 2 episodes, and then like there's also what's his face there the whole time.
Yeah, so Blake did clock in at number 1. I will say, good job, guys, giving Blake the enough time.
Right. Yes.
After she was not in Volume 3 at all, she has been on Volume 4 the most after the first 6 episodes. John is number 2, and then it's RWBY, a full minute and a half, almost a minute and a half behind John at 3. So we'll talk about that. That's a big one. Then Ren, then Sun. Then Nora, Ren, Sun, Nora, then Weiss and Yang, and then Tai Yang, and then Tyrion. So Ren, Sun, and Nora all have more time than Weiss and Yang.
Wow.
It's not atrocious, though. They're all kind of similar times. But I think the big story here is confirmed Jean on screen more than RWBY in these first 6 episodes by over a minute.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. So are we confirmed John's main character now?
I guess so. The thing is, like, this doesn't even confirm Blake as a main character. She just had more screen time.
She was only in a third of the episode. So,
like, yeah. I mean, if you don't calculate the times, you're going to think Jean's the main character. Like, if you've never watched the show and you're watching Volume 4, you're going to be like, Jean's the main character. Yeah,
so let's start with that, how they've handled Team Ranger and John, and looking back on these 6 episodes. So, I guess it's what it ended up being not as atrocious as it could have been. It's not like John was the clear lead of that group.
Right.
He just had a little bit more time. But RWBY not being the clear lead of that group is a problem.
Well, she's just always in the background. Like, she doesn't even take leads really in the. I mean, she took the lead in one fight, and then the rest of it's just nonsense.
Yeah,
like
she
Jean
didn't really
has
do
the
much.
map, Jean's talking.
Honestly,
like,
this episode was the most focus on RWBY because they're making fun of her for not knowing how long they're like. That was the only time she was the
and then
center
Tyrion's
of it.
like you,
and then Tyrion said you, and that's it, basically.
That's it.
Yeah. So overall, these first 6 episodes. So quality wise, these first 6 episodes over the first 6 of Volume 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not like it's a big bar to jump over or anything.
Yeah, that was the down point for the show, I think, overall, was the first half of Volume 3. So I think we've been improving. I think quality-wise, like, I'm kind of actively encouraged by the direction that we've been taking. Like, I think Miles' writing is getting better. Like, I think that, the production quality is much higher this season. So, like, in that regard, I'm like, happy with the show right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's improving. I guess let me do my like mini rant here about this, because it's not the like quality that that I'm upset with RWBY right now. It's just that we've been kind of talking about this. It's like RWBY's so much less interesting this season. It's less fun. It's volumes 1 and 2. Like, this is a show about these 4 interesting like female leads and their interactions in school, and like them talking to each other and them going about and like learning about stuff, and like it was just like this fun show that had like awesome action scenes and some awesome lead characters. And we've kind of like lost everything with this new direction of the show. I
mean, it's a completely different. It's a completely different show.
It's a completely different show, and it's okay for a show to change directions. But the problem is that the show has lost kind of what was appealing to it in the beginning. I think it's like we still have our characters, and they've been doing things, but they haven't been interacting with each other, which was one of the main points of the show. They haven't been doing fun things.
It's not interesting. Like, not a single one of them is doing something interesting.
They're kind of just like, doing, they're all doing their own thing, and they're all like just kind of standing around, and we're advancing their characters. Like, I think the stuff with, RWBY's character hasn't had any advancement, but the other 3 I think had actively good characterizations. But that's not like, I'm not like gonna watch a show purely because it has good characterizations. Like, if anyone in the world would, it would be me. But still, like, I'm gonna like, I want to watch it. Like, I like the characters, and like I like the plot, and nothing this season has been as interesting as the previous seasons, character wise or plot wise. Like, I haven't had a sense of enjoyment with what anyone is doing, and
like, no one's going to, like, everyone knows this show is like, it's 4 awesome girls and they kill stuff. Like, that's why you watch this show. Like, they fight things. Like, that's why you watch it. And like, we haven't had that. Like,
I'm not watching the show to be depressed about Weiss's interactions with her dad, or to be depressed about Yang's PTSD, or to be depressed about
things like that. And it's fine to have this. It's interesting, but like, they're not doing it in any sort of interesting fashion. And then like, they're just like, it's, we have to check in on these characters. We're not doing anything. It's like, I read a book once, and it was like all these really interesting things would be happening, and then you go and like the grandfather's eating soup for like 3 chapters, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, you did this on purpose.
What are you even talking about?
Like, and then like, that's what this show is, except they're all eating soup.
Like, I don't know if that was that a real metaphor, or was
that's literally that was like literally the book, but that's what they're doing. It's like none of them are doing anything interesting, and we keep flashing to them, and like, this is so boring. And they're not fighting anything. The fights have been really up to this point terrible, and it's just, and then they've turned this into they backed the wrong horse, and by horse I mean multiple horses, because we have the 4 main characters, and we have like, okay, here are their classmates. That's fine. You have classmates. You go to school. That's cool. Oh, we kind of have like this rivalry friendship thing. That's fine. And then we get to here, and it's like, oh, we have all these characters, y'all like them. No, we don't. They're boring, and they're not people, and it's annoying, and like, we're gonna give them a lot of screen time, and we're gonna give Ren a really weird backstory that doesn't make any sense, and then we're gonna have Jean talk for like all the time. No, you messed up. Like, you picked the wrong one.
I don't think so. They've been trying to do something different, obviously. I don't think the problem is that they want to make the show darker. Like, I actually don't think that's the problem.
The problem is like, they're focusing on these characters that I'm like, I don't care. Like, if they had like made me care about these characters in volume 2, this would be okay. It's the thing is, like, up until this point, they're not characters. Like, they're just like, oh, there's Ren, and like, Rin doesn't talk. Oh, there's Nora, and she's kind of annoying, but she's friends with Rin. Like, that's all I know about these characters right now. And now we're in volume 4, and they're trying to make them characters. And I'm like, stop. You messed up.
Yeah, we can. So I think the core problem is that
you're not focusing on like their characters,
right? I think that like, so I would say like if you want to like narrow it down to one thing, it's that Weiss, Blake, Yang, and RWBY are not talking to each other.
Yeah.
And so if span that a little bit further, they're separated. Also, they're not getting as much time on the show. Also, because we're focusing on other characters. Like all of that is like all a part of that. I think
it's all like it's all one problem. Like the problem is like Team RWBY. The show
problem is Team
isn't
RWBY
about RWBY anymore.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. I think that's the big problem. Is like, and it doesn't, if you want to like expand the team and add a character or subtract a character from the team, it's not like these core 4. It's not like that. It's just, we're not focusing on like interesting interactions between the people we care about, I guess is my thing.
Well, and the thing is like, they haven't done anything to make like, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who are like, Rin's my favorite character, and that's fine. Rin can be your favorite character, but like, they haven't done anything to like, from the beginning, like there has been no point where they're like, we're going to kind of focus on these characters, and like, it's always been Team RWBY, and there's like all these other people because we're at school and they have to have classmates.
Yes,
and
I've always really liked Ren as a side character, but that's just
fine. Like,
that's just him like making jokes about him not talking about him being a thing with Nora. Like now we're beyond that though, and I think that that's like getting past the point of Ren. I think
in Harry Potter we introduce Luna and Neville, and they become awesome and they do stuff and you care about them by the end of the series. This is not what's happening here. We're just like throwing them in and they're not doing anything. And it's like, why are you talking?
And I don't think giving Ren this monologue this episode is the problem. I think John is the larger problem.
No, John is the problem. 100% John.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, John, I mean, it's just like representative of like, they just keep doing this. Like we have our 4 main characters who like, they're the best. Like they're the main characters. They're really interesting. They do neat stuff. And then now we've split them all up. We've shoved RWBY with like all of our side characters. We give Weiss a bunch of side characters. And then, well, I mean, not really, but like Weiss is with her family who were like, okay, I don't really know anything about you and your brother's weird. And then then Blake with like literally like, oh, Blake can't be on her own. Let's throw another side character to her. Like, stop.
Yeah. And it's been varying levels of success. I think the John stuff has been less successful. I think the Sun stuff actually has been more successful than the John stuff.
Right.
But, overall, it's just...
They're not letting their characters stand on their own. Like, they're literally, like, they've handicapped every single character because they felt the need to tie someone to them. Like, Blake doesn't need Sun. Like, there was no, like, he's fine, but he's not, like, Sun could be gone and, like, the narrative wouldn't change. The fight maybe would have gone a little bit differently, but like that again, like that didn't change it. That doesn't change her narrative. Actually, it doesn't really do anything that that the whole of Team Ranger is with RWBY because like they're not doing anything. And then Weiss is with her family. That's like whatever. Like her dad's just annoying, and then like they're not doing anything. And then I mean Yang with her, like honestly, like Yang's dad's fine. Like he's chill. Like that's fine. He's like potentially the least annoying side character. Granted, I hate Sun.
I'd say Sun. Yeah, but it's so overall, like here's how I would have done season 4. I think if you want to make it darker, fine. You want to have Beacon Fall, fine. You want to split them up for an episode, fine. But you got to get them back together, and you got to have like this Team RWBY against the world type thing, like, and keep the part of the show which is like the main draw to it, which is the Team RWBY part of it. And have like their band of, them rebelling against Salem or whatever. Like, there's ways to do what they're doing without like just spending half the season with all of them separated, I would say.
And we keep sending them after other side characters.
Yeah, that's true. They're also not even actively trying to get together. Like
we have Blake went to her parents, which like obviously you're like, well, it's her parents. Well, we've never met them before. Like they're just new people. And then like, I don't even know if I knew Blake had parents before this. Like, is she an orphan? We don't know. And then, like, it's not like we really talked about her family. And then we have, like, Yang's with her dad. That's fine. But, like we just, like the whole, like, it's almost like all of their arcs revolve around other characters. And it's like, why? Unnecessary.
Yeah. So, I think that even though the quality of the show is improving, I think that this is like a disappointing direction. I'm glad to be hopefully past it, and that the second half of the season will do something different. But the problem is we're not even like, it's not like, oh, we've gotten through this and they're like about to come back together. It still could be the rest of the season. And you know, presumably they'll change something up in the last,
Right.
you know, whatever episodes, but, 7, I guess, but it's not, you know, what even will it be? Like, what even is happening here? I don't know.
Like, it's just, they're all split up, and there's like, it's almost like, oh, we split our characters up. It's like, well, we don't really know what to do with them, but they're gonna do this stuff. Like, okay, like, what?
Yeah. All of that being said, looking back on this first half of the season, I think that I'm actively encouraged by episode 4, Family. I think that was really good.
No, that was a good episode.
And I think the one before that, which I'll focused a lot on Blake and Son on the ship, I think was also really good.
Like, when there's been some good moments.
Yeah.
It's just the overall. Granted, this is always the issue with RWBY. Like, always, we talk about this all the time. Like, the episodes are good, like, individually. Like, sometimes, I'm not gonna say most of the time. Sometimes the episodes are really good individually, but then it's like overall, it's like I have no idea what the heck the show is doing. Like we don't know where we're going. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and like I'm never comfortable with the overarching direction of this show. I do think, the show's quality is definitely, it's going up. Narrative, it's getting a little bit better, but then it's also like, is it though? Like, I think the individual writing and episodes are getting better. I don't think overall narratively
I think they'll find themselves eventually with larger narrative arcs, but it's certainly not there right now.
It's just,
we can just hope. Here's my episode ranking. I've got 4, 3. I looked at this more. 4, 3, 5, 2, 6, 1. There's my ranking. I don't think you remember each of the episodes enough to rank
I
them,
don't,
right?
but like, I mean, I would definitely say that, like, 6 is, wait.
I put that second to last 6.
Yes, 1 is definitely, like, the worst.
And then 2 is fine. It just had that nice scene at the end with John. It was the John-focused Peter scene.
Right.
But other than that, it didn't really do anything. 5 was the Blake-specific episode, which I thought was good, not great.
Right.
I thought the stuff with the serpent was standout compared to some other stuff they'd done this season. And then 3. And then in 4, that was just the one where, like, they've actually have some good writing here. So.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. So let us know, I don't know, what you thought of the season as a whole. Obviously we're not at a point where we're satisfied with it, but.
No. We're going to keep watching. We're going to see what happens. It's just. Yeah. I mean, definitely the show, like, animation-wise, technically the show is definitely improving. It's just the writing, it still isn't there. It's definitely getting better in individual episodes. Overall, no, but
it's just like, you just have to understand what your show did well and, like, play to that.
Yeah, it's like they had, like, no idea. Like,
yeah,
granted, it was different. Like, we've gone from this kind of, like, you know, fighting school, which is a very different, like, show setup than where we are now, and that's fine. But we're not capitalizing on what makes RWBY great. In fact, we're actively, like, ruining what makes RWBY great. Like, we're, like, actively going against what, like, why people started watching the show and are probably still watching the show.
Just get Team RWBY back together, and then we'll see. Like, we can talk after that. Like, let's do that first, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Let us know if you agree. I'm open to disagreeing. I'm not saying we're, like, the only opinion. In general, I'm not sure.
And I know a lot of people like the characters. I know that I'm, like, other than Team RWBY, I just don't care. Like, a lot of these characters, like, I'm just like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if there's anyone who's saying, like, they're, like, incredibly happy with this season more than any other season. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but maybe, you know. But
let us know.
Let us know, comments, and either way, we will be back to cover episode 7 whenever this is out. Let me look at the schedule here.
But again, we wouldn't watch the show if we didn't like it and if we didn't care about it.
Yeah, and I definitely like and care about the show.
I love this show, and that's why I get mad.
Yes, definitely get mad. I think unless they put an episode out on New Year's Eve, I think the next episode will be January 7th, is what I would say.
Beans.
So that's 3 weeks from now.
Well, that's not too long.
Yeah. No, the Volume 3 hiatus was not long. It was like 2 weeks, and then it was like January 2nd. But the way that the holidays are this year, I don't think that it would happen. So, we'll be back when they're back. Let us know in the comments, YouTube comments, Tumblr Ask website comments, and we'll respond, and let's get a discussion going on that. I'm interested to see if you guys agree with us or not. What do you think of this specific episode too? And I don't know. I want to hear theories on, like, what the Big Grim is and stuff like that, because
is it a bird?
No.
Is it a bird?
There's probably some more interesting theories out there than that.
Well, my thing is, like, of course there's more interesting theories. It could literally be anything. You just make something up. Like there's no telling what it is.
Yeah.
And it's a grim. Like, it could be a fusion. It could be like a 2-handed rhino. Like, we don't know.
We will see. more cool grim designs are good though. But anyway, check us out, overlyanimated.com, comments there and stuff like that. Consider supporting us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to our patrons, Mitch Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Angie, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, Catherine, Taylor, Devon, Jay, John Phoenician, Victoria, Katrin, and Steve, aka Phoebe, Mitch, Garner, Steve, Beach, James, Nathan, Fillion, Buzz Lightyear, Mailman, Rich Rose, Giant Bob, Brian, Cook Cat, Needle, Diamond Day, Jewel, Garfield, Fusion, Skylark, Patron, freaking commenter Steve. Coming up on the Overly Animated podcast, check out a animation year in review later this week, and then a Steven Universe year in review. It's year in the review week here at the Overly Animated podcast coming
that's
up.
What you gotta do in December.
Yeah, that's the content TM on all these websites now. So there you go. Check those out at overlyanimated.com. Subscribe to us so you don't miss anything. And thank you very much for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.